We're so glad you've joined us to partner with families. Your commitment to improving the health and wellness of families is a central aspect in transforming lives across the state of New Mexico. In this video, you will learn 5 core values that will help you better serve families in need: genuineness, respect, empathy, active listening, and trust. You will also learn 3 applied techniques which can guide you in your work with families. These include getting to know the family, understanding and supporting the family's goals, and educating and supporting the family. Before we begin, it's important to remember that as you apply these core values and techniques, your focus should be on bridging and partnering with families that you work with. By supporting the family to identify their own goals, you provide a critical and helpful role as the family drives forward towards their desired outcomes. Core Value 1: Genuineness. Genuineness helps reduce the emotional distance between you and the parent you are talking to. It helps the parent to identify with you as another human being similar to themselves. You can demonstrate genuineness by being yourself and acting consistent with how you feel and what you believe. Making sure your nonverbal behavior, voice tone, and verbal responses are all sending the same message. Communicating trustworthiness and acceptance. Being able to express yourself naturally without artificial behaviors, such as repeating word for word what the other person said. Being non-defensive. And self-disclosing, when appropriate, in a truthful, purposeful, and brief manner.
Being so approachable and joking all the time, I think it makes things a little easier for my child and for the whole family, really.
I think sometimes families feel like they're not being treated as a human being, they're being treated as a case or a number. You have to be willing to listen to them, and I think that too often we're not.
When a family comes to me, they've already done some thought on why they want to go see a therapist. So the first question you ask is, what about now makes it a time to come see someone like me?
Es importante que entienda la familia que estamos nosotros aquí, pero trabajar como un equipo, que nosotros no vamos a ser las personas completamente de autoridad, porque tenemos que entender la familia y estamos abiertos acerca de que nos puedan hablar.
Core Value 2: Respect. Respect is critical to developing relationships. There are 2 aspects of respect. 1, how you feel about people in general and the person you are speaking to in particular. And 2, your ability to communicate with respect in observable ways. Respect involves valuing the individual as a person, separate from any evaluation of his or her behavior. Respect is recognizing the dignity and worth in all human beings. When communicating respect, there is warmth that is conveyed to a parent that says you accept them, you like them, you care about them, and you have concern for them. Respecting a person does not mean agreeing with or approving of the other person's thoughts or behaviors. It means acknowledging the experiences or beliefs for what they are to that person. Values and beliefs that convey respect include believing in the following: all human beings are worthy. Each person is a unique individual. People have the right to self-determination, to make their own choices, and that people can change. Respect can be communicated and demonstrated by being warm, showing commitment, recognizing and using a parent's strengths, and being open-minded.
Just understanding and engaging us and letting us come in and sit across the table as an ally.
A common misconception is we think we know better than the family does.
You don't give up and just say, oh, it's a lost cause, this is a horrible diagnosis, they're going to suffer from this forever. A lot of these things, they do get better, and there's hope. Don't give up. That's, I think, the most important thing.
They may have done some things to hurt their kids or to put their kids at risk, but they still know those children better. They know themselves better.
It gave us a boost of confidence that we could actually accomplish something.
Core Value 3: Empathy. Empathy means trying to understand another person's experiences or worldview through their perspective. Empathy can be a tricky part of the engagement process. At times, you have never experienced anything close to what the family is going through. In these situations, just saying, "I've never been through anything like this, but I sure understand it was difficult for you," can be a way of sharing empathy. The two-step process involved in demonstrating empathy is recognizing the person's experiences, feelings, and nonverbal communications, and communicating with words your desire to understand the parent's experiences. Your communication will reflect understanding of their ideas and feelings. Accurate empathy helps create a climate where the parent is willing and able to explore his or her concerns and needs. Communicating with empathy results in greater openness with parents.
Being an expert isn't just having knowledge. Being an expert is also being empathetic. The most important thing when it comes to advocating is also understanding what is the most reasonable course of action.
When I have seen a good engagement take place, I think it's when a worker is sitting down with a family, asking who they feel comfortable with, what other supports they have, and then listening. What is it you need? You know, what happened? How did you get to this place? And listening to what the families have to say about that, and then supporting them with that. Like that, gosh, that's got to be really hard. Being homeless has got to be really hard. How can we help you with that?
Core Value 4, Active Listening. Active listening is one of the most powerful interpersonal helping skills for promoting and building trust and engagement. When you are actively listening, you are doing two things at once. First, you are really hearing the content and emotional process of what a parent or caregiver is saying. Second, you are using both verbal and nonverbal messages to let them know that you want to understand them. Your verbal response can focus on what the parent is describing, how they are feeling or how you think they are feeling. Active listening is about processing what a parent or caregiver is saying, not about interjecting your own opinions. This empowers them to explore and discuss topics, conveys your commitment to understanding their situation from their point of view, and can help you develop broader and deeper understanding of their circumstances. You can demonstrate active listening by establishing eye contact, if culturally appropriate, and open body posture towards the parent that's staying in the moment with them, not hurrying to finish what they are doing or attending to your phone, validating his or her feelings. Asking questions to understand what the parent is saying, reflecting on what the parent has said and what it might mean. Showing interest by asking for more information about the topic the parent is talking about. Avoiding jumping to solutions or suggestions for services.
A lot of times it feels like your voice doesn't really count, that they are the ones that know what needs to be done and you kind of just have to go along with it.
I have 13 years of experience with my child. You know, his current counselor has 6 months, and so there is no way that the counselor could possibly know what this child has been through without me giving him that information. You know, my son is very bright and intelligent, but his perception of things may sometimes vary from, you know, the reality of what the situation is. And so I think that it's really important that, you know, the therapist engages with the family as well as with the family being able to be open and honest and engaging with the therapist as well, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to share this, you know, common goal of helping him to get better. So
I have a simple rule that I run with, and that's 99% of the time parents know what's going on and what needs to be done. They just need to be able to be heard.
Core Value 5, Trust. Trust is essential. Families need to know that they can count on you to follow through on your promises. Families will feel they can trust you when you are clear with what you can help them with and what you cannot help them with. Notifying the family that you are a mandated reporter and what the process might look like if it becomes necessary. If you say you will be there for a family, they should be able to count on you to be there. Following through on a promised action in a timely or agreed upon time frame. Being upfront and explain when you cannot meet timelines or follow through on an action.
I think the end result, if we can focus on the goal, I think the means to get to that goal can be we can be creative. And if we give the child a voice in that, you tell us what you want to do. You tell us how you are going to reach this goal. And if it's something that we all agree with, it's legal, it's safe, it's a good plan, and it's reasonable, they're going to have the buy-in to get there, and we might have more success rather than all the adults telling the youth and the family what we want.
It really is a lot of listening and asking some questions just about where they are and what they're doing, with the understanding that we're working together. I work for them, and I want to know, do they think I can be of any help to them?
Now that you've learned about core values, here are 3 applied techniques that you should use to guide you in your work with families. Technique 1, really get to know the family. Understanding the family's culture, routines, preferences, taboos, and religious preferences will greatly help you work with a family to offer solutions and alternatives that appeal or resonate with them. Information you can look for. Take time to find out all the different facets of a family's life. Is the family's time filled with church activities, after-school sports, therapies, or meeting the demands of the systems they are involved in? Is the parent or family isolated from their community because their child's behavior is too extreme to allow for connections to be made? Are there friends and understanding family members that lend moral support to the family? Or are friends and family undermining the family with criticism and bad advice? Is a parent at risk to lose a job because the child's needs are taking them away from work too often? What services or strategies have they already tried, and what was working or not working?
It's the responsibility of that advocate or that worker to ask those questions. What's important to your family? What kind of traditions do you all have? Is religion important? And then when they're trying to help the family think about services, that they consider those. I think what's hard for social service behavioral health agencies is people think of culture as ethnicity. So if you're Hispanic, then you fit in this Hispanic box, and we're going to do things a certain way. Or if you're Native American, you and we have lots of cultures we have lots of different ethnicities in the state, and we have lots of different cultures. From northern New Mexico to southern New Mexico, things are very different. Every family needs to be treated differently, and I think that those kind of things are the things that make a difference for those families who are able to make the changes, is that they have those supports or services that speak to them.
Technique number 2. Understand and support the family's dreams for their child's future. Understand and support the family's dreams for their child's future, and take time to figure out with each parent or caregiver you work with. Allow for meaningful input from a family and incorporate it into what you do with a family. Your understanding will ensure the work you do with a family will have meaning and relevance to them. As you work with a family, try to identify what heartbreaks they've had, or what fears do they have for their child? What they want the outcomes to be for their family? What the goals and aspirations are that they have for their child? Where are their areas of most concern? What does the family feel should be prioritized first? School concerns, behavior at home, friendships, or system involvement? What strengths are they utilizing, and what immediate skills do they wish to improve within themselves or in their child?
We talk about service delivery, but we expect people to come to us. From the provider side or the advocate side, we really need to look at what we're doing and is it fitting.
We've been there, so we know what works and what doesn't work. So when you have someone who's willing to say, okay, I hear you, we'll try this because you're with them every day, as opposed to we're the experts, it has to be this way, and discount what our experiences.
Sí, es muy importante para nosotros tener la familia enganchada, porque claramente, ¿verdad? Si un niño vive en su familia, está en una escuela, tiene una comunidad, es importante para nosotros enganchar todos esos aspectos, ¿verdad? Porque es donde funciona el niño. Así es que tenemos que entender las diferentes áreas donde el niño vive.
Technique number 3. Educating and supporting the family. Educating and supporting the family is a key element in engaging families. If a family is given the information on what the available choices are and how or why something might be helpful, they can be reassured and informed. Families that are given enough information and choices on how to proceed are much more likely to continue with services. Answer questions. Address all concerns brought up by the family. Give relevant information. If possible, give multiple choices on how to proceed, with explanations on how each of those choices might look like. Offer additional resources for families to get help or become more informed. Publications, websites, brochures, and so on.
When we are involved in an intervention, we want to try to understand, help the family understand how that impacts their parenting, and then try to get them to address, why is it that you're abusing substances? People have things that happen in their lives, and maybe they didn't have the supports that some of us had that led us in a different direction. They may not have those supports. They may have been abused or neglected themselves, and so we have to try to help them understand why it is that they have chosen that path, and get what they need, however that is, so that they can change that behavior and safely parent their children.
Decir, estas cosas nos parece bien, estas no, porque a veces no las conocemos nosotros. Por eso digo que a veces es importante ser algo humilde para que la familia pueda sentir que nosotros tenemos interés en ellos y tenemos interés en saber cómo ven ellos la situación.
So what can reduce engagement? When a family is not engaging, it's easy to get frustrated with them or blame them for their inability to follow through or comply. It's important to look at our own role as service providers and consider methods that engage or disengage a family, and be considerate of experiences that the family had prior to working with you. An already anxious, frustrated, or uncertain or even unwilling parent may already be wary and disengaged by impersonal entry to the system, long wait times, extensive assessments and paperwork, past bad experiences with providers, lack of culturally appropriate or individualized services, goals and plans that do not address a family's priorities and feel irrelevant to them, not feeling listened to, past encounters with experts or professionals that belittle and disregard the family's knowledge or expertise of their own child, multiple unsuccessful treatment outcomes resulting in lack of faith in services, exhaustion and caretaker fatigue leading to loss of hope or motivation.
A lot of therapists don't listen. You come in and they'll tell you, you're with me now, so nothing you've done in the past matters. You're starting over. And they won't listen. We've done this before. We've done these certain types of therapies and treatments, and they're not working, so let's not waste time doing them again.
They use that cookie cutter approach, that checklist is how we felt. We didn't seem to have a provider who wanted our input that much.
Diagnoses are nothing but a constellation of symptoms that go together that allow us to guide how we want to do our work. However, a lot of diagnoses are complicated and they take time to figure out, and some diagnoses don't reveal themselves until further on into the work that you do because people aren't aware of what they're looking at.
The underlying fight is to get our society to stop throwing away and giving up on people who do matter and who can be productive, people. They can be healthier people. They can be members, productive members of society is the cliche. That's what it is. Everybody has that capacity.
What would be success for me would be that we're working together. We're kind of walking the walk and talking the talk. And if we did that better, we would have better outcomes, I think, for our families and our children.
Your work in partnering with families is one of the most important and impactful parts in developing better health and wellness across the state. You've learned about 5 core values that will help you better serve families in need, and 3 applied techniques to better engage families in your work. While these tools may not solve all problems, your commitment to families and use of these resources will make your work easier and more successful. Now, consider using a personal checklist the next time you work with a family or client. What can I do to show my genuineness? How am I respecting the family? What ways can I show empathy for the family? Am I actively listening to the family? What can I do to build trust with the family? What steps can I take to get to know the family better? Do I understand the family's goals, and how can I help support them to achieve these goals? And finally, what resources or support can I offer to educate the family? We know challenges come up that make this job difficult. No family is ever the same, but if you're able to embody the 5 core values of genuineness, respect, empathy, active listening, and trust, and utilize 3 applied techniques, you will be able to better serve families in need. We believe in driving towards effective services and positive outcomes for families across the state, and now you hold the keys to more successful family engagements. To learn more about family engagement, please visit our website at www.nmsoc.org and click on the COC Videos tab.